Hi everyone, I'm Ziomin from Susan's family. Today I'll teach you how to make a Minyu Aran cardigan. For this electronic tutorial, you can search for sousoude.com on the website and check it out. This sweater consists of the back piece, left and right front pieces, and the collar, sleeves, and buttons. Start by knitting the back piece, then knit the left and right front pieces. Then knit the sleeves. After completing each section, sew them together, and attach the buttons. First, let's learn how to knit the back piece. Let's take a look at the finished product. The back piece is divided into three parts: the hem, the body, and the left and right shoulder parts. Start with an alternating cable cast-on method. Work the hem in 1x1 ribbing pattern, going back and forth. After completing the hem, continue knitting upwards evenly for the body section. Then move on to the shoulder parts. Let's take a look at the chart. The example chart shown here is for demonstration purposes only, and should not be used as a reference. The final chart should match the actual project you are working with. Each square in the chart represents one stitch, which corresponds to one loop when knitting. The blank squares in the chart indicates a knit stitch. A horizontal line indicates a purl stitch. The method for casting on and the number of stitches is labeled below the chart. Arrows indicate the direction of knitting. The right side is read from right to left using the chart. Row numbers are marked on the right side of the chart. The wrong side is read from left to right using the chart. Row numbers are then marked on the left side. Pay attention when knitting back and forth. On the wrong side, you need to use the opposite stitch pattern shown in the chart. Let's first learn how to knit the hem. Start with alternating cable cast-on stitches. For your convenience in seeing more clearly, I'll use cotton yarn for demonstration. For specific yarn color schemes and knitting needle sizes, please refer to the product details page and paper instructions. Make a slip knit with the yarn. Place it over one end of the circular needle. Adjust the loop size. This one stitch will count as a knit stitch. With your right hand, pick up the other end of the circular needle. Place the right needle below the yarn. Go upwards from below, and insert into the loop. Yarn over. Draw through. Knit one purl stitch. Slide the loop onto the left needle. Place the right needle above the yarn. Go downwards from above. And insert between the two loops. Yarn over. Draw through. Work one knit stitch. Slide the loop onto the left needle. Continue by placing the right needle below the yarn again. Insert between the two loops. Knit one purl stitch. Slide the loop onto the left needle. Cast on and follow the pattern. One purl stitch. One knit stitch. Alternating as you work downwards. When the yarn tail is on top, begin with a knit stitch. When the yarn tail is at the bottom, begin with a purl stitch. Continue working downwards until you reach the desired number of stitches. This is what it looks like after completing the cast on. Now we begin knitting the first row. The first stitch is an empty square, which means a knit stitch. Work 1 knit stitch. The second stitch is a horizontal line, which indicates a purl stitch. First, wrap the yarn to the top of the right needle. Then work 1 purl stitch. Continue with 1 knit stitch. Wrap the yarn back under the right needle. Work a knit stitch. Then work 1 purl stitch. This row consists of 1 knit stitch, 1 purl stitch, alternately. Remember to yarn over before each stitch. Otherwise, you'll end up with extra stitches. Continue following this pattern. Finish this row according to the pattern. If the last loop is too big, you can slightly tighten the starting tail. That's it for the first row. Now move on to the second row. In the chart, this row starts from left to right, because the chart shows the texture of the right side of the piece. In practice, you need to work the opposite stitch. Turn the work over. Hang the yarn with your right hand. The first stitch is a blank square. It indicates a knit stitch. To work the opposite stitch, you purl 1 stitch. Place the right needle underneath the yarn, then purl the stitch. The second stitch is a square with a horizontal line. It indicates a purl stitch. To work the opposite stitch, do 1 knit stitch. Continue referring to the chart, or follow the texture of the piece. For the next stitch, if it's a tile shape, purl 1 stitch. If it's a braid shape, knit 1 stitch. Continue following the alternating pattern of knit and purl stitches. Complete this row. Now you can see that the second row is done. Move on to the hem. The method for the remaining part is to work the corresponding stitches on the right side, referring to the chart. On the wrong side, work the opposite stitches or follow the texture. You can finish it on your own. That concludes the explanation of the hem section. Let me teach you a way to count the rows. In the middle, a braid like this indicates 1 row. At the bottom, the braid is formed by the cast-on. From the top, start counting upwards from this braid as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Also, count the loops on the straight needle as 1 row. That means there are 6 rows here. After completing the hem, continue upwards, work even for the body. Let's start with the first row. Begin with 9 knit stitches. Then 1 purl stitch. We can consider these stitches as one pattern group. Repeat this group of stitches across the entire row. That completes the first row. Turn the work and continue with the second row. We will work this row on the wrong side with the opposite stitch pattern. Start with 1 purl stitch. Then work 7 more purl stitches. One knit stitch, 1 purl stitch, and 1 knit stitch. Consider these 7 purl stitches, 1 knit stitch, 1 purl stitch, and 1 knit stitch as one pattern group. Repeat this group of stitches across the entire row. This is what it looks like after completing the second row. Turn back to the right side. Work row 3. Start with 1 knit stitch, 1 purl stitch, 5 knit stitches. And 1 purl stitch, 2 knit stitches. One pattern group is now completed. The pattern for this row is to repeat this group of stitches. Row 3 is now complete. Move on to row 4. Work the opposite stitches as shown in the chart. Start with 2 purl stitches, 1 knit stitch, 3 purl stitches, 1 knit stitch, 3 purl stitches. Continue repeating this group of stitches. This is what it looks like after completing row 4. Continue with row 5 on the right side. Start with 3 knit stitches. 1 purl stitch, 1 knit stitch, and 1 purl stitch, 4 knit stitches. One group of the pattern is now completed. The pattern for this row is, repeat this group of stitches. Row 5 is completed. Turn to the wrong side and start row 6. Work 4 purl stitches. One knit stitch, 5 purl stitches. Continue to repeat this group of the pattern. Row 6 is completed. This is what the body looks like after completing rows 1 through 6. The method for knitting the remaining part of the body is to knit the corresponding stitches on the right side according to the chart. On the wrong side, work the opposite stitches. We can consider the pattern from row 1 to row 6 of the body as one group of pattern sequence. For the body section below, repeat the corresponding pattern. After completing the body section, don't cut the yarn, and continue upwards to work the shoulder parts. For the shoulder parts, you will need to work short rows on both sides to form the shoulder part sloping. Then start by knitting the left shoulder part. During the knitting process, you need to continue working short rows on the left side. Afterwards, attach yarn and knit symmetrically for the right shoulder part, and in the middle, bind off to form the neckline. Pay attention, the left and right here refer to the actual left and right when wearing it. Note that on the outside of the chart, the row numbers for the body, start labeling from the body position. Mark the row numbers on both sides of the short rows. Begin labeling from the start of the short row knitting. Indicate the number of rows for the short rows on each side separately. The row number at the center neckline position. Start labeling when knitting the left and right shoulder parts separately. Count the rows individually while knitting. Below, I will use this sample swatch to demonstrate the method of knitting the shoulder parts. Start with the first row of the left short rows. This row corresponds to the last row of the body. Knit according to the chart until there are 9 stitches left, then stop. The sample here has fewer stitches. For the actual number of stitches and stitch patterns, refer to the diagram. Then knit the second row of the left short rows. This row corresponds to the first row of the right short rows. Work in the opposite stitch pattern as shown in the chart. First, turn your work over. Knit 1 short row stitch. Start with 1 yarn over. The texture of the fabric piece here is purl. We need to place the right needle under the yarn tail. Then bring the yarn from back to front. And wrap it around the right needle once. The yarn over is now complete. Next, slip 1 stitch purlwise. You can see on the right side here, there is an extra loop. This is the loop created by the yarn over. We will count these 2 loops as 1 stitch. Continue knitting according to the chart or pattern. Repeat. Stop when you have 9 loops left in this row. The swatch is now at this position. This completes the second short row on the left side and the first short row on the right side. A short row has also been worked on the left side. Now work the third short row on the left side, which corresponds to the second short row on the right side. Work the corresponding stitches on the right side according to the chart. Turn the work over. Work one short row stitch. Start with one yarn over. Place the right needle under the yarn tail. Slip one stitch purlwise. There will now be 2 loops on the right needle. This completes the yarn over and the slip stitch. Continue following the chart to finish the rest of the row. Stop before the last 9 loops. Pay attention to the yarn over and slip stitch in the short rows. We treat these 2 loops as one stitch. That is, starting from this short row stitch. Count 9 stitches to the right and stop without working them. I won't mention this again going forward. The third row of the left side short rows is now complete. The right side short rows are also done at the same time. Next, work the fourth row of the left side short rows. This will be the first row of the neckline. Starting from this row, you need to work the left shoulder part separately. Turn the fabric over. Start with a yarn over. Place the yarn tail above the right needle. Then wrap the yarn from back to front around the right needle. The yarn over is now complete. Next, slip one stitch purlwise. Continue following the chart until you reach the corresponding stitch count, then stop. The fourth row of the sample swatch is now complete. Turn the work. Continue working the second row of the neckline. The fifth row of the left side short rows. Bind off 2 stitches according to the chart. Start by knitting 2 stitches. Lift the first stitch on the left needle, and pass it over the second stitch. Then drop this loop off the right needle. That's 1 stitch decreased. Continue with 1 more knit stitch. Use the left needle to lift the first stitch. Pass it over the next stitch. That's another stitch decreased. Pay attention. The last stitch you work is for closing the final loop. This corresponds to the first stitch on the left side of the last bind off symbol. After completing it, finish this row from the second stitch. Follow the chart and purl 1 stitch next. Continue working according to the chart until the end of the row. Stop before the last 9 loops. Row 5 is done. Now proceed with row 6. Work it on the wrong side. Start with 1 yarn over. Then knit 1 slip stitch. Continue following the chart to finish the row. Row 6 is complete. Turn your work and start row 7. Begin with 2 knit stitches. Pass the first stitch over the second stitch. This decreases 1 stitch. Then continue following the chart to finish the row. Stop before the last 9 loops. Row 7 is complete. Continue knitting row 8 on the wrong side. Start with 1 short row stitch. Then finish the row according to the chart. Next, turn back to the right side and start row 9. Everyone knit according to the chart until reaching the first short row on the left needle. At this position, these 2 loops are from the previous row's yarn over and slip stitch. We will pick up the slip stitch first according to the chart or pattern. Repeat. Knit 1 stitch. Then, with the right needle, pick up both the yarn over and the one on the left side, knit them together as one knit stitch. This way, eliminate the row at this position in the previous row. Continue following this method and refer to the chart for knitting. When you encounter short row stitches, pick up the slip stitch and knit according to the pattern. Pick up the yarn over and the stitch on the left side and knit them together. Perform the row elimination. This is what the sample looks like after completing row 9. Continue knitting the row on the wrong side according to the chart. Turn the work and bind off on the right side. The stitch technique has been demonstrated before. Finish knitting on your own when there is only one last loop left on the needle. The sample here is completed. Leave a tail of about 10 centimeters and cut the yarn. Enlarge the loop. Remove the circular needle. Pass the yarn tail through the loop and pull tight. This way, the left shoulder part is complete. Let's knit the third row of short rows on the right side. This row continues upwards separately from the first 2 rows we've already completed. Before knitting, we need to bind off the corresponding number of stitches at the neckline in the middle. There are more stitches in the middle. You can use a marker to count and separate the corresponding stitches. The stitch count in this sample does not serve as a reference. For the actual stitch count, please refer to the chart. We will work this row on the wrong side. Turn the fabric so that the wrong side faces you. Pick up the new yarn. Make a slip knit with the yarn. Start with 1 purl stitch. Insert the right needle into the first loop on the left needle. Place the slip knit onto the right needle. Pull through. Adjust the size of the loop. Then work 1 purl stitch according to the texture. Use the previous stitch to cover the next one. Continue binding off following the texture until you reach the stitch marker. Remove the stitch marker. Continue binding off the last stitch. After completing, continue according to the chart or pattern. Repeat until done. Stop before the last 9 loops. The third short row on the right side is completed. Then turn to the right side. Work row 4. Work 1 short row stitch. Start with 1 yarn over. Place the right needle under the yarn tail. Slip 1 stitch purlwise. Continue referring to the chart to finish this row. The technique for working the short rows is identical to that of the left shoulder part. While doing the short rows, bind off stitches at the neckline position. Everyone, refer to the chart to finish the remaining short rows. Next, let me explain the method for eliminating the last row of the right shoulder part. The row elimination for the right shoulder part is done on the wrong side. First, follow the chart. and knit until you reach before the short row stitch. When you get to this position, first, pick up the slip stitch, then knit 1 stitch. Then, in the knitwise manner, slip over the yarn over and 1 loop from the left side. Then use the left needle to pick up from back to front. These 2 loops, move them back onto the left needle. We can see that the positions of these 2 loops have been swapped. Finally, use the right needle to pick up both loops together and work 1 purl stitch. The row elimination is done. Continue with this method for the rest. Everyone, refer to the chart to finish this row. This is what it looks like after completing the row elimination for the right shoulder part. After finishing, on the right side, bind off all loops of the right shoulder part. After completion, fasten off the yarn. Up to this point, the explanation of the back piece's knitting method is complete. Next, we will knit the left front piece. The left front piece consists of the hem, body, shoulder parts, and collar. Among them, the cast-on and knitting method of the hem are identical to those of the back piece. Only the stitch count differs. When knitting upwards to the body section, you need to knit the decrease stitches first in the first row. The body part of the left front piece is divided into 2 patterns on the left and right sides. The stitch pattern on the left side is the same as that of the back piece, knitting the wave pattern. On the right side, knit the cable pattern. At the shoulder parts, between the 2 groups of patterns, knit decrease stitches to form the neckline. Then, work short rows on one side of the shoulders. Finally, bind off at the corresponding position on the shoulders. At the same time, continue knitting upwards according to the pattern. Repeat for the collar. Finally, hold stitches. Everyone should first refer to the chart instruction, and complete the hem section on your own. After completing the hem, continue with the first row of the left front piece. In this row, you need to knit 2 stitches together. Hereafter, we'll call it K2 tog, and the P2 tog. For decreasing stitches, according to the chart, start with 1 knit stitch first. Then do 1 K2 tog. With the right needle, pick up 2 loops at the same time, and knit 1 stitch. K2 tog is completed. The decrease pattern for this row is every 2 stitches apart. Knit 1 K2 tog. When you encounter a pattern that requires purl stitches, and also needs to be clustered, knit the P2 tog. Below, I will demonstrate the method for the P2 tog. Place the yarn above the right needle, while picking up 2 loops from the left needle at the same time. Purl 1 stitch. This way, the P2 tog is completed. Everyone, refer to the chart and finish this row. This is what the first row of the sample looks like after decreasing stitches. Next, Rows 2 to 6 do not involve any new stitch techniques. Row 7 requires a new stitch technique, the 3/3 LC. You can first follow the pattern and knit on your own until the last 7 stitches of row 7. At this position, knit 1 and 3/3 LC. Here, you will need a cable needle. Take out the cable needle. Start from right to left. Slip 3 loops. Place them at the front of the fabric. Then knit the 3 knit stitches on the left needle. Next, knit the 3 stitches on the cable needle. This completes the 1 and 3/3 LC. Continue with 1 purl stitch. That finishes row 7. Up to this point, all the new stitch techniques for the left front piece have been explained. Let's take a look at the finished product. The wave pattern on the left side of the left front piece is identical to the back piece. Rows 1-6 are considered one pattern repeat sequence. After the first cable group on the right, every interval of 7 rows. In row 8, knit 1 stitch, the 3/3 LC cable pattern. All crossing stitches are done on the right side. We consider these 8 rows as one pattern repeat sequence. When you reach the shoulder parts, everyone, refer to the chart and knit the K2 tog at the neckline. Perform short rows on the shoulders. And after binding off, continue upwards. Knit the cable pattern. You need to knit while comparing as you go. Match up the front and back pieces. At the shoulders. For the collar, knit to the center position of the neck opening on the back piece. After finishing the collar, place the loops on hold. I'll demonstrate the method for placing stitches on hold using this swatch. Once the collar is done, leave a tail of about 30 centimeters and cut the yarn. Then cut a longer piece of yarn and thread it into a sewing needle. Pass the sewing needle from right to left, inserting it through the loops on the needle. When finished, remove the sewing needle. Take the 2 yarn tails and tie a loose knot. That completes placing the stitches on hold. You can refer to the chart and follow the pattern repeat for 2 groups to finish the left front piece by yourself. That concludes the explanation of how to knit the left front piece. Now continue with the right front piece. The hem is knitted in the same way as the left front piece. The body section consists of 3 different sets of patterns. On the left side, there's the wave pattern. The cable patterns on both sides are symmetrical. And there's a diamond pattern in the middle. The shoulder parts is the same as the left front piece. Decrease stitches at the neckline section. Perform short rows on one side of the shoulders. And bind off stitches at the shoulder until you reach the corresponding stitch count. After fastening off, rejoin the yarn and continue upwards. Knit the collar. Once the hem is completed, we'll start knitting the first row of the body. The new stitch technique used here is the 2/2 RC. First, refer to the chart and knit to the middle diamond pattern. after knitting 8 consecutive purl stitches. Reach this position and knit 1 stitch, 2 halves RC. Use the cable needle to pick up 2 loops and place them in front of the fabric. Knit the 2 knit stitches on the left needle first. Then knit the 2 knit stitches on the cable needle. That's how you do it. The 2 halves RC is now complete. Continue to follow the chart and finish this row. First row completed. Then, refer to the chart and knit the opposite stitch pattern. Second row finished. After completion, continue with the third row. Everyone can now independently refer to the chart and finish knitting the 3/3 LC. The sample swatch is now done. Continue with 2 purl stitches. 1 knit stitch. Then, start the diamond pattern. Begin with 2 purl stitches. Next, knit the 2/1 LPC. Use the cable needle to pick up 2 loops. Place them at the front of the fabric. First, knit the 1 purl stitch from the left needle. Then, knit 2 knit stitches from the cable needle. This way, the 2/1 LPC is complete. Continue with 6 purl stitches. Then, knit the 2/1 RPC. Use the cable needle to pick up 1 loop first. Place it at the back of the fabric. Next, knit the 2 knit stitches from the left needle. Then, knit the 1 purl stitch from the cable needle. The 2/1 RPC is complete. Then, knit the 2/1 LPC. After that, knit 6 purl stitches. One 2/1 RPC. 2 purl stitches. Diamond pattern completed. Refer to the chart for the rest and finish the symmetrical cable pattern and wave pattern on the left side. This is what it looks like after completing the third row. Rows 4 to 6 that follow do not involve any new stitch techniques. You can refer to the pattern chart to complete it on your own. After completion, continue with row 7. Start with 1 purl stitch. 1 3/3 LC. Then do 2 purl stitches. 1 knit stitch. And 2 purl stitches. Next, knit the 3/3 PC. First, slip 3 loops with the cable needle. Place them at the back of the fabric. Then knit 3 knit stitches from the left needle. Knit 3 knit stitches from the cable needle. This completes the 3/3 or C. Continue with 3 knit stitches. 2 purl stitches. And 1 knit stitch. The cable pattern on the right is now complete. Afterwards, finish the rest of the row on your own. This is what it looks like after completing row 7. Continue to follow the chart for knitting until you finish the cable pattern on the right in row 11. The small sample is now done. Next, start the diamond pattern in the middle. Begin with 6 purl stitches. Then knit the 2 halves RC. Use the cable needle to pick up 2 stitches. Place them at the back of the work. First, knit the 2 knit stitches from the left needle. Then knit the 2 knit stitches on the cable needle. That completes the 2 halves RC. It's done. Continue with 8 purl stitches. Then do 1 2 halves LC. Finish with 6 purl stitches. The diamond pattern is completed. For the rest, refer to the chart to finish this row. Up to this point, the right front piece has been covered. All the new stitch techniques used in the body section have been explained. Going forward, continue knitting evenly upwards following the pattern repeat that corresponds to the design. Everyone, refer to the chart. Finish the corresponding number of rows for the body section. After completing the body section, continue with the shoulder parts. A new stitch technique is used here. There's the SPO and the P2 tog. Here, let me demonstrate. I'll show you how to do these two stitch techniques. First, I'll demonstrate the SPO. Slip 1 stitch with the right needle without knitting. Knit 1 stitch. Use the left needle to pick up the slipped stitch. Pass it over the last knitted stitch. That's how you do the SPO. Let's continue with the P2 tog. Use the right needle to pass through both loops on the left needle. Purl 1 stitch. That's how you do the P2 tog. Everyone can continue to follow the chart and finish the corresponding row numbers. Next, I'll demonstrate the method for the short rows in row 8. We will work this row on the wrong side. You need to slip 1 stitch knitwise. We place the right needle underneath the yarn and continue to slip 1 stitch knitwise. Then, according to the chart, work the corresponding stitches going forward. This completes the short rows yarn over and slip stitch. Following this, you can refer to the chart to complete the right front piece. That concludes the explanation of the right front piece. Let's move on to knitting the sleeve. The method for the cuffs is identical to the hem. For the sleeve body, it consists of wave patterns on both the left and right sides, and a cable pattern in the middle. For the sleeve body, you need to increase stitches on both sides. All increases are worked on the right side. On the second stitch of the increase row, work a right lifted increase. On the second to last stitch, work a left lifted increase. You can first watch my demonstration, then proceed with your knitting based on the actual situation. I'll demonstrate the method for increasing using this sample swatch. When the stitch on the left needle is a knit stitch, work a right lifted increase. Let's take a look. Below the first loop on the left needle, there is a braid. Insert the right needle from top to bottom and pick up the strand on the right side of it. Knit 1 stitch. Then continue to pick up this loop and knit 1 stitch. This way, the right lifted increase on the knit stitch is completed. We can see that 2 stitches are created in 1 loop. When there is a purl stitch on the left needle, to knit the right lifted increase, you can see that there is a horizontal strand below this stitch. Insert the right needle from bottom to top to pick up this strand. Knit 1 stitch. Then continue to pick up this stitch on the left needle. Knit 1 stitch. This way, you've knitted 1 right lifted increase on a purl stitch. When the left needle has a knit stitch, to knit the left lifted increase, first pick the loop on the left needle and knit 1 stitch. Then use the left needle to pick a strand from the left side of the second braid below. Insert the left needle from left to right to pick up this strand. Insert the right needle into the strand below the left needle, and knit 1 stitch. This way, you've completed 1 left lifted increase on a knit stitch, when the left needle has a purl stitch to knit the left lifted increase. First pick up the loop on the left needle, and knit 1 stitch. Let's take a look at the stitch you just knitted. There is a braid below it, and then a horizontal bar further down. The left needle goes from bottom upwards. Pick up this horizontal bar, knit 1 stitch. That's how you do a left lifted increase on a purl stitch. All the stitch techniques needed for the sleeves have been covered. You can follow the chart to finish the sleeve body section and bind off. With that, the explanation of the sleeve is complete. After finishing the front and back pieces, as well as the left and right sleeves, we will proceed with sewing them together. Let's start by sewing the sleeve sides. Next, sew the shoulders of the front and back pieces together. Then sew the side seams of the body. Then sew the sleeves to the armholes, matching them up. Finally, sew the 2 collar pieces together. For the sides and the back neck opening, sew them together as well. Let's start with sewing the sleeve sides. The sewing is done on the right side of the fabric piece. Take a sewing thread about 1 meter long and thread it through the sewing needle. I've already threaded mine. Place the sleeve with wrong sides facing each other and the right side out. To prevent the fabric pieces from shifting, you can use stitch markers to mark the corresponding positions on the sleeve side seam. Start by marking the edge loops of the cast-on together. Then mark the top together as well. After completing this, work between the 2 stitch markers. Place a few stitch markers evenly. Pay attention. Don't stretch or pull the fabric piece when placing the stitch markers. After completing this, start sewing. Begin with the casting on edge. At the marker position below, find the horizontal strand between edge 1 stitch and the left side 1 stitch. Insert the needle from the bottom up. Make sure to leave about 10 centimeters of yarn tail, then find the corresponding position on the other side. Similarly, from bottom to top, insert into the horizontal strand between edge 1 stitch and the right side 1 stitch. Slightly tighten. Be careful not to pull out the yarn tail. You can sew a few extra stitches at the starting point to secure it in place. Remove the stitch marker. Continue by picking up the horizontal strand, above the stitch you just inserted on the left side. Sew once, then pick up the horizontal strand above on the right side. Sew once. Continue picking strands upwards. Sew together each of the horizontal strands, from both the left and right sides one by one. Keep sewing all the way up to the position of the stitch marker spot. Pay attention, after sewing each section, tighten the sewing yarn tail. When pulling tight, hold the reserved yarn tail firmly. While sewing, be mindful of whether the positions of the horizontal strands on both sides correspond. You need to adjust in time. If the positions are staggered, you can pick up 2 strands on the side with more carrying yarn. And on the other side. Pick up 1 strand of carried yarn, then sew them together. Continue sewing until this edge is completely finished. After completing the seam, take the tail end from sewing to the wrong side. Hide it along the texture. You can hide and tie a knot at the same time. Also hide the reserved yarn tail in the same way. The sleeve body is now sewn together. Everyone sews the other sleeve by themselves. This is what the sample looks like when it's finished. Next, we will sew the right shoulder. Here I will demonstrate using this sample. The stitch count of the front and back pieces on the right shoulder are not the same. First, place the body with their wrong sides facing each other. The back piece is in front. The front piece is at the back. Secure both ends of the shoulder with stitch markers first. Then evenly distribute a few more stitch markers between the 2 markers. Cut a long yarn tail and thread it through the sewing needle. First, insert from the bottom up into the middle position of this stitch on the edge of the back fabric piece. Then insert again from the bottom up into the edge stitch of the front piece. You can sew this part twice to start. Leave a yarn tail of about 10 centimeters. Pull tight. Then pick the front piece in a figure 8 pattern with 2 threads. Pick the back piece in a V shape with 2 threads and sew together. Because the stitch count is different, we need to sew a few stitches first, then pick from the front piece in a figure 8 pattern, corresponding to the back piece, with 2 V shapes, and sew them together. You can adjust while sewing. After sewing a small section, tighten the yarn tail. When the right front piece is a purl stitch, we can see that the purl stitch creates a tile-like texture. Pick 2 threads between 2 tiles to sew together. Continue sewing until this side is finished. You can also sew a few extra stitches at the end to secure it in place. Then weave in the ends on the wrong side. That's how you complete the sewing for the right shoulder. The method for sewing the left shoulder is almost identical to the right, since the stitch count for the shoulders of the front and back pieces on the left side are the same. We just need to pick from the front piece with a figure 8 pattern, corresponding to the V shape on the back piece. Sew them together correspondingly. You can finish sewing it by yourself. This is a sample. What it looks like after sewing is completed. Next, you need to sew the 2 side edges of the body together. Compare with the sleeves before sewing. And leave the sewing position for the sleeves. Mark it with a stitch marker. Below, you need to sew all parts together. The sewing is done on the right side. The method is the same as the one used for sewing the sleeves. You can refer to the previous method and complete it by yourself. The sample has already sewn the bottom part of one side of the front and back pieces. Next, you need to sew the sleeves to the armholes. Align the seam of the sleeve side with the seam of the body side. Match the top of the sleeve with the shoulder seam. Use stitch markers to secure. Both sides of the sleeve are fixed with stitch markers respectively. Below, use the yarn tail from sewing the side seam to continue the sewing. We can see that at the bust edge of the front and back pieces, there is a row of braids. Next to it, there is the carrying yarn across. Pick up one of the carrying yarn strands. For the sleeve, pick up the V-shaped stitch with 2 threads. Sew together correspondingly. Continue picking up on both sides. And sew. Pay attention, the sides might not match up perfectly. If the row numbers of the bust piece are more than the stitch numbers of the sleeve, you can pick up 2 carrying yarn strands. Correspond to the sleeves. 1 stitch. And sew together. If the row numbers of the bust piece are fewer than the stitch numbers of the sleeve, you can skip a stitch appropriately on the sleeve side. Ensure both sides lay flat when joining together. After sewing a small section, tighten the yarn tail. For the underarm area, you can sew a few more stitches. Avoid having any holes. After sewing, take the thread to the wrong side and weave in ends. This way, the sleeve and armhole are sewn together. For the other side, just follow the same method to finish it. The sample here is already sewn. Next, sew the collar. First, transfer the held loops back onto 2 needles. Untie the yarn tail. Insert the needle from right to left into the loops. As you thread the loops, pull the yarn tail through. After threading, take the previously reserved long yarn tail and thread it into a sewing needle. First, insert the needle from right to left into the closest fabric pieces. First loop. And slide the loop off the needle. Then, insert the needle from left to right into the next fabric piece's first loop. And slide the loop off the needle. Next, insert downwards from top to bottom into the front fabric pieces. First loop. And draw through one adjacent loop on the left side from right to left. And slide the loop off the needle. Then, insert downwards from top to bottom into the back fabric pieces. First loop. And draw through from left to right. One loop on the left side. And slide it off the needle. Continue. Insert downwards from top to bottom into the front fabric pieces slid loop. And exit from right to left. through one loop on the left side. Then insert downwards from top to bottom into the back fabric pieces the slid loop. And then draw through from left to right the loops on the needle. When sewing the back fabric piece, always insert downwards from top to bottom through the slid loop. And exit from right to left the loops on the needle. For the back fabric piece, always insert from top to bottom into the slipped loop. Draw through from left to right the loops on the needle. Everyone can continue sewing this way until it's finished. At the end, you can sew twice more at the edge to secure. After completing, weave in ends on the wrong side. Once the collar is sewn together, continue to sew the collar and the back neck opening together. The middle seam of the collar should match up with the middle position of the back piece. Use a stitch marker to secure. Also, fix both sides with a stitch marker respectively. The sewing method here is identical to the method used for attaching the armhole and sleeve. Pick up the horizontal strand next to the edge braid of the collar. Sew the back neck opening by picking up the V-shaped loops. You can finish this on your own. Finally, attach the buttons. Let's take a look at a pair of buttons. It consists of these two parts. Attach the half with the metal ring on the left front piece. Attach the other half on the right front piece. Snap the hole onto the button. The folding position is about 2 centimeters away from the edge of the right front piece. The top and bottom buttons correspond to the top and bottom edges of the diamond stitch pattern. The positions of the top and bottom buttons can be slightly staggered at an angle. The exact positions can be adjusted according to the actual situation. I will continue to demonstrate the sewing method using this swatch. Everyone first confirm the placement position. Then sew securely. Take out the sewing yarn. Start on the wrong side of the fabric. Tie off and weave in the ends neatly. Secure the tail. Then exit from the backside of the fabric piece. At the same time, draw through the hole at the fold position. Then insert into the hole on the left side. Next, draw through the adjacent hole. Then, insert into the hole on the right side. And exit from the hole on the left side. Pay attention, everyone. Adjust the position while sewing. Make sure not to sew crooked. Everyone repeat this process to sew around one circle to the other side hole at the fold position. After sewing around one circle, tie off and weave in the ends on the wrong side of the fabric. This completes the sewing for one side. Now sew the other half. Sew around one circle using the same method. Make sure everyone sews it securely. This concludes the explanation of the button installation method. The entire sewing method for this garment has now been fully explained. Up to this point, the making method for this cardigan has been completely explained. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website, Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.